Hi, Diane here, and I'm going to tell you the story behind the story on Dressed to Confess, the third costume shop mystery. Now, if you're familiar with the series, you already know that this is a town of people who love to dress up in costumes. It surrounds Margot Tamblyn, who is the owner of Disguise to Limit, which is the neighborhood costume shop. And it's got a lot of quirky characters, it's got a class struggle, and it's got a slight obsession with teddy bears. So the third book in the series takes place around the Sagebrush Festival, the annual festival. And instead of telling you about the book, which you can find out all over the place online, I'm going to tell you 3 things that inspired this particular series, okay? So the first thing are the Go-Go's. The Go-Go's are one of my favorite bands. And I knew when I was putting together the Sagebrush Festival that I needed a headlining act. So what I thought was I would look to the Go-Go's to get inspiration for my group that was going to be performing at the festival. And I decided to make them a dance troupe instead of a musical group. I just thought that would lend itself to slightly more fun costumes. But I went to the Go-Go's website, I started looking into their history and their backstory, and just to look for something to trigger some creativity, and I discovered this major thing that had happened where one of the Go-Go's sued 4 of the Go-Go's, and now they're not even all part of the group anymore, which is like major shocker to me. So I had found a link to the court documents, I read all 40 pages of them, and by the time I was done, I pretty much had who was going to be my suspect, or who was going to be my victim, who was going to be some of my suspects, and what this whole mystery was going to surround. So from there, I ended up with the Domino Divas, who are my dance troupe. Now the Domino Divas got their name because they wear those little half masks, those colorful half satin half masks, which are called domino masks. But that also leads me to board games. So once I had the Domino Divas, I had the headliners, and I thought, well, the festival has to have a theme. Otherwise, Margot won't have any reason to make costumes, and Ebony, who's in charge of planning the whole festival, won't have a hook to use for the planning. So the domino half masks led to the Domino Divas name, and dominoes are games, so that naturally led me to games. And once I started researching board games, I noticed that an awful lot of them have to do with conspiracies, which of course led me to conspiracy theories. So one of my favorite characters, who I feel like was largely underused in books 1 and 2, is Don Digby. He is Margot's dad's best friend. He's kind of inspired by the Hume Cronyn character in Shadow of a Doubt, for anyone who's a Hitchcock fan like me. And Don is a conspiracy theorist. So when I started writing the book, I thought it would be funny to have Don kind of be a watchdog on the board game industry. But as I kept writing it, I realized Don has much deeper ties to the victim than anybody knew, including me, and I'm supposed to know what's going on. So once I realized that, it just became perfect because Don doesn't trust authority figures. He doesn't trust the police. He believes everybody gets framed. So he is the perfect candidate to be a suspect for murder. So naturally, all this lends itself to great costumes because I get to make board game inspired costumes, I get to make conspiracy theory inspired outfits, and bonus for you, in the book there are suggestions on how to make board game inspired costumes. And for anyone who is familiar with the series, you probably already know that the entire concept was inspired by me telling a story about my teddy bear in his Yeti costume. Well, he wanted me to reassure you that there are plenty of teddy bears in costumes in this particular book. Okay, so that's the story behind the story on Dressed to Confess, the third costume shop mystery series, and I hope you enjoy it.